Hi guys, Wee Bob here, and I am out in the garage, and I come out because I've been out here building. I'm kind of knackered, my hat's covered in sawdust, and I'm building this thing which I'll talk about perhaps in a future video, we'll see. It's an enclosure, best way to describe it, and just having a can of juice. I did drop it, I was expecting it to explode on me there, but good old Pepsi Max. So, trying to be a wee bit quiet because people can hear me. So I've been up this week. I have been doing a lot of gaming this week. This is kind of just a quick vlog more than anything because I am busy with building this, and I have been busy building it for days now, weeks, getting material together, saws. I've got my material as well in here for building my arcade machine, and so I've just been quiet because I know that people can hear me outside, and it's makes me uncomfortable slightly, even though I do walk along the beach, but then that's people who don't live next door to me that can hear me. So I've been up to Wipeout VR. I joined up to PlayStation Store this week again, and I got Wipeout VR for free as part of that. Free, you sign up for the subscription thing. I wasn't going to, but been speaking to a guy at work, and he'd said there was some good games, and I thought, okay, I'll sign up. It's 50 quid, and so I signed up. Wipeout VR and Sniper Elite 4 were actually on the list of free stuff, so I got those too. And Wipeout VR by far is an amazing game, and I was a wee bit worried about it because I was thinking, I'd been listening to Alan and a few other people who had said they get nauseous from playing the Wipeout VR game, but I didn't suffer from that at all. I just was in awe of the graphics because I've got a PlayStation Vanilla, just like the original PlayStation 4, and there was no issues at all. The graphics looked superb, there was no slowdown, there was no issues with frame rate. It just was an amazing game, and I really hope that they take that as a kind of standard for games. So if you've not checked out Wipeout VR, or you don't have the PlayStation membership, it might be worth picking up just for that game because it's still about 20 quid in the shops. So you get that plus Sniper Elite 4, and then every month you get another game or two. So other than that, I did pick up No Man's Sky, which I mentioned in my last pickups video in the beach, and I'm glad I'm not on the beach, but I'm being quieter today. I'd probably prefer to be at the beach because then I can be louder. But No Man's Sky I've played, and when you compare it to Wipeout, you can see they're trying to do a larger thing. They're trying to do something bigger with the No Man's Sky being such an open world game that it's got to generate. So you've got texture pops out at you, you've got like objects appearing. It just doesn't hold the same kind of immersion that the Wipeout game does, and it's a good game. It's amazing that you can get a game like No Man's Sky and put it into VR, but you can see the suffer, and I've heard that the PlayStation Pro doesn't have a patch or anything like that, so I don't think it makes a big bit of difference as to whether you play it on PlayStation Original or PlayStation Pro. I presume they'll maybe fix that in the future because it seems like they're supporting that game quite a lot. It came out and get absolutely panned, and then they seem to have made it better. So I was been watching a lot of YouTube this week. I've got some notes down here just to remind myself what I'm talking about. But I was watching some old Alan Mainmeister ones. I was watching some Vinnie Corleone, Escape to Gaming ones I hadn't caught up on. Long ones where there was a lot of talking. I'd said to Kev I was trying to find some down the rabbit holes videos that were a wee bit longer, maybe a wee bit more. And even the one I was watching, he was saying he didn't normally put out his kind of opinion. It was more, his channel was more about showing things off, but this video I was watching was to do with drama in the retro community or the classic games community. And he said he just didn't normally put out his kind of opinion. This was an older video I was watching, but I've just been trying to find a lot of kind of longer videos, the same as Swifto's. I went and watched one of his older questioning videos before I think I was even a subscriber. So it's kind of good to go back and catch up on videos, because a lot of people don't think about that. You don't get the exposure on the back catalogue of your videos. You don't, like, you've put a lot of work into some of these videos, yet people only see the last 10 videos or whatever you've done. They don't. That's why I did like a playlist. I'd love if most people I watched, I'd love if they did a playlist of their oldest videos to their newest videos, because it's one of those things. The way that YouTube works, it usually does the newest video going back the way, which you don't kind of watch because it doesn't give you the kind of chronological journey of the person. So I made a playlist called oldest to newest, and it's where you can go back and watch my first video, second video, and they're in that order. So every time I upload a video, I add it to oldest to newest videos, so you can actually walk through that. If anybody out there would like to do that, I would appreciate it, because it would give me the ability to just hit play on. Used to be when I was cycling. When I was cycling, I used to listen to YouTube, and a lot of the times the problem I had was it would then jump to a completely different video if that video ended, and then I'd be listening to something weird. Whereas if it had been like if Alan could do a Friday Waffle one from the first Friday Waffle to the last Friday Waffle, and I know it's a bit of a pain when you actually do it every week. It's easy because you just click that button once, whereas when you're setting up originally, you've got to click all the videos, so it's not quite as simple. But it would be handy if everybody had that, or even YouTube made it a thing, because when you're on YouTube and you're trying to scroll back to people's older videos, you sometimes get to a point where you've got to load more, and even when you're doing your end screen on YouTube, it won't let you go back a certain amount on like the videos that you choose to put up. You've actually got to search for the video or get the URL, which I think is a bit rubbish, but it is what it is. So I don't know how I got into that. It was a bit of a tangent there, but I've been listening to a lot of YouTubers this week just building this thing, and I'll be moving on to my main cab after this, because I've now got all the tools and materials sort of, well, the wood materials. I need to get the arcade sticks, which again, I would, if anybody watches this and knows which arcade sticks are the best, give me a comment below. I know it might be personal preference, but I'm just getting set out, so it'd be good to know how much I should be looking to spend, or which ones I should maybe choose on Amazon or eBay. I prefer Amazon in all honesty, because it's just easier for me to get things. Not a fan of eBay. So if anybody's got any recommendations for arcade sticks, I was thinking of getting one of those X controllers. I think Kev's got one on his, what's the name of his? He's got an arcade machine that he's called some Val. Is it Val? I think it's Val. But he uses this X controller, which comes with, you can get one that comes with a ball, okay, trackball. I know he's got his mouse which he uses, so I've got all the materials to start the main cab. Hopefully I can kind of document that journey a wee bit. I have done some artwork as well, that's another thing. I have done some artwork. I haven't uploaded it to the other channel or this channel. I was thinking about putting this week's vlog to this. I've went even longer than I thought I was going to on this one, and I've still got a bit to go, but I haven't uploaded that artwork yet. It's been uploaded to Instagram, so if you follow me on Instagram, it's just Wee Bob Draws, you'll see the part of the drawing up there. I'm going to put it up. Might be that I do a talk during the week, and that's my next week's video, with that in the background with me talking about a subject. This, as I said, this channel is going to be more me talking about my week and games I play, and thoughts on games, and thoughts on life and mental health and variety. It'll be a variety of things. The artwork with just music will be uploaded onto the other channel, which I'll leave links for whenever I get round to doing that. But this week, with building, this has just been ongoing. It's more complicated than what you can see behind you. It's not overly complicated work, but I'm not a joiner or anything. I'm just watching videos and looking at online plans and stuff like that. It's the same as the main cab. That's just going to be me following somebody else's plans, because I guess I could come up with my own plans, which we'll see, but that's going to be a longer project. I could do it getting a table saw, but I don't have a table saw. Listening to YouTube, building this has been this week. Playing VR, playing or gaming. I've just been gaming a lot. The drawing, yes, I've been down a few nights to do drawing but for the most part I've been going watching TV. Me and my family watch Doctor Who, so the new episodes. So we're catching up on watching all of those. We watch a couple every other night, and then me and my missus watch something else on Netflix or whatever. I think we've just started watching Outlander. So then I go and do either artwork or I do gaming, and I've been doing a lot more gaming because I've got the setup there now. So the arcade pickup, the PlayStation 2 arcade pickup, I've been playing a lot of Robotron, and I've been playing Super Sprint and Tapper, which I loved Tapper. Oh, I'm losing feeling in my leg here because I'm kind of cross-legged and I need a drink. Oh dear. So, lovely noise. One of the things I was listening to and I thought I'd talk about was I was listening to Alan's Nostalgia 80s talk, and I had also been listening to Lawn Boys Post's Nostalgia videos, and they were both talking about using the TV guide as a kid and how kids these days don't really get that because of the on-demand thing. You go on demand what you want to watch, or you see a movie you want to go to the cinema to see, you just go and see it. Your parents give you the money, or you can download it or whatever. And for me, what I've been doing is I still actually use the TV guide. Now, I don't use a paper TV guide. I use the Sky guide. So when you went to Sky, they've got a TV guide that I'm losing feeling in my feet. They've got a guide that you can search through, and I still go through that like once a week and hit record on the ones I want to record. So quite often you find that the likes of Netflix and Amazon have like Iron Man 2, or in this case they've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but they don't have Guardians of the Galaxy, so you're stuck. You can't go back and watch number 1 without buying it. And what I tend to find is that you can obviously go into these download sites. Oh man, I'm totally losing feeling. You can go into these download sites and you can get it, obviously, Kodi or whatever it is. And I've got a real problem with that. Not like I download the occasional video usually because I can't get it. What was the one? There was an older movie that I couldn't get. Kind of surprised about it. I think it was like Look Who's Talking or something, and I couldn't get it on like Blu-ray. You could only buy it on DVD, and I didn't want it on DVD. So anyway, I went on to one of these sites, downloaded it, and have it there to watch when we want to watch it. Because I mean, we used to. That's the weird thing about copyright. I know I'm going off on tangents here, but because I'm talking about TV guides. Copyright I find weird because like, so if I owned the cassette tape of Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run back in the 80s, does that mean I then have to go and buy the CD, and then do I need to go and buy the download because I don't happen to own the cassette tape anymore because it's chewed in the tape deck, or it's been lost in the attic or something like that? To me, you've already paid for the copyright rights to that. Now I know that's people might disagree with that, and it just bothers me, that whole thing. So it doesn't bother me to download things because usually I will have had them at some point in my life. But the TV guide on Sky I still go through because then I can get it in high definition, I can get it in 5.1 surround sound. If there is like forced subtitles where there's a different language in the film, then it's there. So like sort of Winter Soldier, we went to watch Captain America Winter Soldier last night, and I had it downloaded because I haven't managed to pick it up on Blu-ray yet, and unfortunately the forced subtitles weren't there. And sometimes in movies you don't know whether there's meant to be subtitles or there's not meant to be subtitles, and when you download it you can go and get the subtitle track. But if I can get it on Sky, it's a lot easier. I just hit record and then wait till it's on my planner and then watch it. And obviously it's a fully formed movie for Sky, so you go through the free channels like Film 4 and ITV2. They always have these great movies on that maybe you've not watched them, because the Avengers movies, we've been going through them. Obviously they've been out for years, but we weren't really into that, watching those types of movies. But it means I can then go and find those movies, download them and watch them in Sky rather than trying to buy them in Blu-ray. But anyway, the point being, I still use my TV guide, I still go through the TV guide and I still get quite excited about doing it, especially when you find a movie that you've been trying to find. Like the other day I found Civil War, Captain America Civil War's on Sky, ITV2 or something like that. Obviously not Sky, but I mean I'm using the Sky planner to go through and circle these movies, and I did used to do the same. I used to, especially at Christmas, because you didn't have as much access to everything that wasn't on demand this and on demand that. And yes, you can go into Amazon Prime and you can pay $7.99 to buy the movie. It is there, you don't have to wait for it to come out on TV. But I'm not going to go and pay £8 for every movie that I want to watch, because I already pay for a Sky subscription, I pay for a Netflix subscription, I pay for a Prime subscription. These are all costs that I'm not going to go and buy every video that I want to watch. We did buy a few. We bought Rush Hour, the first Rush Hour, and we bought Ready Player One, which moves me on. That's quite good actually, because that moves me on to my last topic that I want to talk about this week, and that is a movie versus a book. And I was just thinking about my week before I did this video. I was thinking, what have I done this week? What have I been listening to? And with Audible, I'm a subscriber to Audible as well, which I didn't think would be worth it, but there is a good thing about Audible that I don't think it's very well advertised. Now it's $7.99. I know I'm kind of moving away a wee bit here, but Audible is like $7.99 a month, and you get 1 credit per month, so you get 1 book, which to me was like, I'm sitting going, that's not a lot. And then when you were scrolling through, it was like, buy this book for £25, buy this Audible book for £45, buy this Audible book for £15. And I was like, I'm not going to go and pay $7.99 to get 1 book, which I finish in a couple of days, and then I've got to pay £25 for the next book that I want. And one of the things they don't advertise is, that I don't think they advertise it very well, is that you can actually buy 3 credits. So you can buy 3 books for £6 a piece. So you pay £18 over and above your subscription, but it allows you then to get 3 books, or 3 audio books for £6 a piece, which, when some of the audiobooks are, I mean, I remember looking at Harry Potter a long time ago and it was crazy money, like you were talking £40-50 for an audiobook, which, I mean, I grudge paying money for a book, never mind that kind of money for an audiobook. So the good thing is you're then paying £6 for an audiobook, which would normally cost a lot more money. Because I've been doing the walking and then listening to books, the £6 per book actually turns out to be not a lot of money. So it means you buy it once, you don't need to buy it every month. So you've maybe paid out £25 for a month, which, again, money's perception. If you were to go and buy a takeaway, that would be £25. But you think £25 for an audio subscription, you're like, oh, that's a lot of money. Yet we just fling our money away on a night out, or we fling our money away on a takeaway because we've got the munchies. So I think money's very much a perception thing, the way we look at money. It's the same as gaming. I'm not going to go play £40 for a brand new game when I can wait. Now you could argue I should support the studios, and I know that's kind of Dean Thompson had that kind of view about supporting the studios, but when the studios are making the kind of money they're making, I mean, if you take, I'm totally tangenting here, only about 14 million topics, so if you want to maybe talk about it yourself, but the studios are making massive amount of money, and I know that the programmers get screwed over because the investors want their dividends, and I know that's why indie games turn up, because people are like, I can make a bigger slice of the pie. I tend to just wait until the game comes down, because I've got that many games. Like, I'm buying PlayStation games at £1 and £2 and £8 second hand, because I'm not, like, I bought Red Dead Redemption 2 at full price and I have not played it. I've played it for 2 hours. Yeah, it's now down at £20, but I paid 50. It's just a waste of money for me. And that's a bit of a tough topic that I want to kind of clamor out your brain. But anyway, Audible, kind of reverse back. Audible, Ready Player One. What I want to talk about, and I'll maybe make this a half hour if we can make it to half an hour, is book versus movie. So I paid for Ready Player One, and I paid for the audiobook as well on my Audible subscription. And they really are two. They've got the book and the movie. They have got a similar concept. There's a guy who owns a virtual reality world called the Oasis. He dies, and the purpose of the movie, the purpose of the book is that he has hidden these Easter eggs. 3 Easter eggs that if you find them, you win his fortune. A wee bit like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where you're going for a tour of the factory and the winner gets to take over the factory from Willy Wonka. And Ready Player One is the same concept. You've got to go and win 3 challenges or find three Easter eggs to win the prize. And I really like both of them. I was just want to talk about it because I had been thinking about it. We'd watched the movie a few weeks ago with the kids, and the movie, I'm not going to give away too many spoilers, but I do need to talk. So the movie starts off with the Anorak, as his name is, telling about the quest. The quest is you've got to go and find these 3 Easter eggs. And the first one is a race, and the guy, the main protagonist, is that what you call them? He has a DeLorean as his car, and the idea is he's going to race through this big cityscape to get to the end to win the prize. And nobody's ever won the race. So the idea is it's an Easter egg. It seems a bit too straightforward, but when you compare that challenge to the first challenge in the book, so the main guy gets in his DeLorean along with all this corporate guys that are trying to win the prize and all these other gunters, as they're called, trying to win the prize, and he races and he stops this other girl called Artemis from reaching the end because she's going to get wiped out by Kong, because Kong's part of this big race thing. But it's very much a modern day take on the book. So the book is totally different because the book's first clue is to do, and again, I'm not going to give away too many spoilers. I would suggest you go read the book. The book is certainly more adult, not massively adult, it is certainly aimed kind of older teenagers, to say the least. There's swearing in it, but the book's first challenge is to do with Dungeons and Dragons, which not very many people play nowadays. And then the final challenge is on an arcade machine, which I hadn't even heard of until I watched the movie. And it proved again how bad my knowledge of arcade machines is now. The first arcade machine, I'll just give it away, so spoiler alert. The first arcade machine is Joust, and ultimately Dungeons and Dragons leads him to get to the cave where this Joust arcade machine is based, and he has to fight this Dungeons and Dragons character to win the prize, the Easter egg, the first Easter egg. So on one hand you get the movie, which is certainly, you can see what they've done. It's because of modern day gaming. Like, you were to say to somebody, some kid, Dungeons and Dragons, they're going to be like, what's Dungeons and Dragons and what's the point of it? I mean, I've told my kids before, some of them do it because they're kind of, the retro thing definitely is becoming much more into popular culture these days with Stranger Things. Like at the beginning of Stranger Things, the one game they're playing is Dungeons and Dragons, and it certainly is becoming more known, but not everybody does. Like, most kids are just into multiplayer online, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto. They're Dungeons and Dragons to them is for nerds. And it is, but who knows about Dungeons and Dragons these days? And the population must be quite small. Whereas back in the 80s it would be big, and anybody who's reading the Ready Player One book who's from that era is going to get the fact that it's a Dungeons and Dragons reference. I wasn't a big Dungeons and Dragons person, so I'm not too sure that I would have. I mean, I've never heard of the module that he talks about in the book, and I had never heard of Joust. I've played Joust now. It's on that Midway arcade thing that I bought for the PlayStation 2. Joust 2 is on there. Not my favourite game, to be honest. It's a wee bit difficult with the controls, and I did have a shot of it at Play Glasgow. So the book versus the movie, they're just two totally different things, and I think you miss out a lot if you don't look at both. I think the closest movie to book transition I have ever seen would be Rudy. No, not Rudy, sorry. If you've not seen Rudy, the movie, I would suggest going and watching that if you're looking for motivation. Shawshank Redemption. So the Shawshank Redemption is a Stephen King short book, short story, and the actual title of the book is Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. And the book to movie, they are very, very similar. There's a wee bit more detail in the book, different details, but not overall. From memory, the full thing is very, very similar. Whereas Ready Player One versus Ready Player One book, they're same concept, totally different. Running Man's another one. Running Man, Stephen King, and the Running Man book. The book is so much better than the movie, but they're two totally different things. Ready Player One, I love it, to be honest. It's like there's other things like the book talks about. There's war games, which is mentioned. Again, if I was to go and ask my kid, have you seen war games, they would be like, nope, not what you're talking about. But the book mentions it, and you kind of need to know. The problem with the book is the book talks about so many references to 80s pop culture and 80s culture. When I was reading the book, because I read the book in physical copy first, which I got from the library, I borrowed it from the library. I actually went on to YouTube and played some of the songs that were mentioned in it to remind myself of what those songs were. And then, like I said, War Games is in there. There's tribute to Monty Python, which, again, if I was to say my kids Monty Python, they're not going to have a clue. So the movie doesn't go near any of those concepts. It just doesn't. It doesn't go. It does a wee bit with later on. I'm not going to give spoilers away again, but it's a different movie. There's movie references, but there's different movie references because the movie references in the book are a wee bit more obscure. They're a wee bit more pure 80s as opposed to movies that people know about because of how big they were. Whereas War Games wasn't. It's not like this big, massive movie that everybody knows. Whereas the movie focuses on movies that I think my kids would know, and they focus on concept that my kids would understand, like Doom and multiplayer online gaming, and so it's just worth watching, just looking at it as well. Again, movie versus book. The book is set over a much longer period of time, and that's always the case. Where the movies tend to have to be condensed, they have to be shortened so that the audience don't lose interest, whereas the book certainly seems to take place over at least, I know it's 5 years or something, and the movie's the same, but then the actual finding of the final egg appears to be over a year, or 6 months to over a year that the actual story lasts for, and the book explains that time scale. So it's an I prefer the book on that front. Overall, I prefer the book, and that's just I just think it's a better story told, and that's usually the case, to be fair, with most things. I think that's it. I think that was what I was going to talk about, was just that I still, like, my week as gaming is becoming a bigger part of my life. Again, as opposed to the artwork, I'm still doing the artwork. VR, definitely go and check out Wipeout. Wipeout VR. No Man's Sky's okay. I would maybe hold off a wee bit if that was the only reason you were going to buy it. Plus, I've bumped the price up. I remember seeing it for like £2 in CEX, whereas I had to pay £15 to get it. And TV guides, I still use TV guides. I still use the Sky TV guide, similar to the way I used to use it when Christmas came around, to find movies that I'm trying to watch that I don't find easy to get on through other means. Now, other people might have better means of getting these movies, but I like the fact that Sky, I like the fact that Netflix, I like the fact that Amazon Prime, I'm not going to have to worry about the quality, the sound quality, or whether there's forced subtitles, which is the usual problem, is the forced subtitles. But when you go to all these kind of more black market ways of getting movies, you tend to find something in the quality that's been compromised on somewhere to allow it to be uploaded to a server somewhere that you can access, whether it be IPTV or whatever. So I do like going through the TV guide on Sky to find movies so that I can watch them in their full glory, hopefully, as long as it's not been on before the watershed and they've skipped out bits. Like Liar Liar was on and they totally missed out bits that were funny, and that because of the time that it was on the TV. And books versus films. So if you've got a book that you love and a film that you love, and it would be good to hear somebody talk about that. Might even inspire me to go and listen to the book. I'm doing Armada at the moment on book form. That's the other Ernest Cline book, Ready Player One author. And Armada again is appealing to that same sort of era, the 80s era, and it's very similar to Ready Player One. Sometimes a wee bit too similar and predictable, but it's a good book so far. So I'm only about a third of the way through it on my walks, and it's good so far. So certainly worth a look out if you're interested in Ready Player One. Armada by Ernest Cline's another one that's pretty good. So anyway, that's me been blabbing for a heck of a lot longer than I thought I would be. I don't think I've got to edit this too much, and I've managed to relax a wee bit, regardless of who's outside listening to me ramble. So hope you guys are well. Have a good weekend, have a good week, and I should hopefully be uploading next weekend as well. So see you later. Wee Bob is out. Bye.